Okay, let's start with the eldest, Bahng, the leader. If I could write a letter to Bahng, I would probably say that the things that you think are the most ugly about you probably are some of the most beautiful things about you. He's always talking about like, oh, my hands, or I don't feel I'm good looking, or I feel I'm this and I'm that. I mean, the man is stunning. He's a really good looking man, right? He's a really good looking guy. And it's interesting to see just how human he is. I think one of the things that really stands out about Stray Kids is their ability to be famous, but also relatable, and not relatable in a way that's forced, right? It's in a way that you understand why. I think a lot of us do deal with self-image. A lot of us deal with not liking how we look because of different beauty standards and different things we feel are not the best about us that could be better. Some of us don't like our complexion. Some of us don't like our hair. Some of us don't like the way our heads are shaped. There are a lot of things that for one reason or another we might not like. We might not like how our feet look. We might not like our height. There's so much about ourselves that we tend to be so hard on ourselves on. And it's very interesting to see somebody at that height still have the same struggles. And he has people all over the world literally thirsting over him. Like, people are ready to sign NDAs. People are ready to do almost anything for him. There are some fans who are at that level. You know, not all of us, but there are fans who are at that level who would literally let him walk on them if he could give them the chance, right? But yet he still looks at himself and questions his looks. He still looks at himself and questions his being. He still looks at himself and questions where he is. He still looks at himself and still has issues with loving himself. He looks at himself and still has issues with a lot of who he is and what he has become. And I can't imagine the amount of sacrifice he has had to endure up until this point. Neither can I imagine the amount of things he's regretted, the amount of things he feels could have been handled better, and he could have saved his group from, saved himself from, saved his younger siblings from. Why? I'm a firstborn as well. So I understand the weight of trying to do right, not only by you, but by the people who look up to you and who you feel responsible over and who you've been given responsibility from. So combining him being a firstborn in his family and then a leader in his group, I can only imagine the amount of sorrow, regret, guilt he feels for a lot of things which probably are not even his responsibility, right? Or were not his responsibility. But he does. And for me, that's a great leader. Somebody who can look at things and be like, you know what, that could have been better. Because that's the only way you get better in life, right? On top of that, musically, he's got such a brilliant mind, to the extent that a lot of the times I think people don't realize how much he makes himself the knight. And a lot of the members have this trait, and I'll highlight it in the particular videos of those that have this trait. If Stray Kids are stars and some are the moon, he's the night. And a lot of the time we put down or don't understand the value of the night because we're looking at the stars and the moon because they are shining bright. But if the stars and the moon were shining during the day, you wouldn't see them as clearly as you see them at night. So they need the night. And that's Chan name. I don't want to be disrespectful. It's not like, I'm close enough to be calling him so casually. But, he's so talented. Like, if you listen to that man's voice, it's the quality, the tone, the girth, the depth to it, the soul behind it. I would like to hear him sing a ballad by himself. He's got such range. He's just his voice alone is so good. Like, even without the dancing and the rapping, just his voice can compete with a lot of the leading singers in the world. But you hardly hear him force himself to the front. And he could, because he's the leader, he could do that. But he doesn't. On top of that, his dancing is good. But you rarely don't focus on him dancing. Not because he's not good at it, but he has this way of making himself almost like a billboard projecting the members. He has so much in him. Like, I don't think we've even seen 10% of the brilliance of this man. The way he thinks, the way he analyzes, the way he looks at situations from a futuristic perspective and then brings them into reality without revealing just how far into the future he has gone is not a trait many people have. And Stray Kids are so blessed to have a leader like Channim. He's so futuristic in his sight and in his vision that not only is he able to project what the future could look like, he's able to ensure that all the members feel and are moving at a similar rate. This is not to minimize the amazing minds of all the other members, but there's something that happens when you have a leader that doesn't look at himself as better than, and he's not in competition with any of the members, because there are some members who definitely do stand out more for one reason or another. Not that they are better than the other members, but that's just life, right? No matter where you go, there are always people who in a group so and so stands out more than the others, right? But there's no time that you see him competing with said members. Instead, he looks at how their qualities enhance the group. He's so meticulous in the way that he plays his pieces that he has been given, that instead of there being strife in the group, there is elevation. And that mindset, I think, has really settled in with all the members, that even where they could have been envy, strife, jealousy, and things like that, which of course to a degree you would expect, because these are very driven people. These are very competitive people. So you can understand, like, even with Han, when he was talking to Hyunjin about some of his feelings in the Two Kids room that we watched, that's honest. And that's what I love about this. They are to the extent which they let us in, they are very honest to their ability. They are allowed to be honest. I think if they were allowed, they would even be more honest than they are, right? And I think it's just so beautiful to see. He's always talking about his hands, but I mean, his hands make such beautiful things, and the painting is not any more beautiful than the brush, right? The brush is the reason for the beauty of the painting. So him being the brush, his hands being the brush, are only the origin, they're the genesis of the beauty that Stray Kids is, of the beauty that his craft is. So I won't go out so far as to say he shouldn't think what he thinks about himself or his body, because that would be a lie. I have my own insecurities, and I wouldn't go out there making it sound like people shouldn't have insecurities. That's just part of life. We just do what we can with what we have and move on. But those are some of my thoughts about Bahng Chan. Yeah, I like that he shows that sometimes he has anger issues, and rightfully so. I mean, he got into this industry as a child. I think there are things where he felt he could have been protected. Somebody could have stood up for him, but he attributed to the fact that he chose this life and that he shouldn't complain. But it's okay to complain. It's okay to look at something and be like, that wasn't fair. That wasn't right. That wasn't the way it should have been done, and I would never, right? He's such a person of servitude, you know, and it's rare to find that quality in people nowadays. Okay, I might make a part 2, but that's my thoughts on Bahng Chan.